Good day. It's Mr. C again, and it's our second installment of music lesson. I'm going to begin with a little bit of a history lesson. And the history of this instrument that I have right here. This instrument is known as the cajon. And you might be thinking, hey, I live in El Cajon. Well, the word cajon in Spanish means box. And if you look at the city of El Cajon, it's kind of like a box. So this is the cajon, and this instrument originated in another country, in the country of Peru, where they do speak Spanish. And Peru, I have the name of the country here, Peru, is found on the continent of South America. And what does Mr. C have for you? A handy dandy little map. So you can find Peru on the map. Well, as I mentioned, Peru is in South America. It's right here. And it's right here by the Pacific Ocean. The same ocean that you swim in here in San Diego. Except for it's south. But if you kept on going through Mexico and went in through parts of South America further down the coast, you would wind up in Peru. Well, this story gets even a little bit more involved because it wasn't the original people that lived in Peru, the native people. No, it actually came from Africa. Came from Africa, from the African slaves who were brought to work in the fields in Peru. Again, Mr. C has a handy dandy little map of the continent of Africa, and many of the countries here on the west coast by the Atlantic Ocean sailed across, and they were brought to Peru. And the Africans would celebrate and have all of their various different ceremonies using the drum. It was very, very important. It's the way that they communicated with each other. And they weren't able to bring their drums. So what they did is they were very ingenious. They took out the drawers that were the chest of drawers that they kept their clothes in, and they took them out into the woods and they poked a hole in the back of them, and they sat on them and they played them. And that is how they were able to reproduce the sound of the drums that they had. So if you actually look to the back of this instrument, you can see it has a hole. And sometimes we call this hole a port. And this is what they used to replicate the sound of the drums. Well, our story doesn't quite end there, because this instrument, the cajon, was very much appreciated by the Spaniards who heard it. And the Spaniards went back to their home country of Spain, which is found on the continent of Europe, and they added it to their music. Here's another handy dandy little map. You can see Spain here by the Atlantic Ocean, and is part of the nations that we call on the continent of Europe. Very, very close to Africa too, by the way. So they took the instrument, and we could hear the cajon in some of their very popular music called flamenco music. And has a lot of very exotic dancing going on with it, and the men and women that dance flamenco use their shoes to make sounds on the floor. If you know what tap dancing is like, it's sort of in the same sort of vein that you would hear tap dancing, the flamenco music of the Spaniards. So that's our instrument, the cajon. This is the front, they call this the plate. And I'm going to do a little bit of demonstrating for it in a little bit. But I want to start off talking about music notation. What do we have here? We have something that looks like one of your letters, the letter D. But we call this a quarter note. And today's lesson is going to be entitled Finding the One, the quarter note. And when we play a quarter note, and we're going to have a chance to do that, we would just count it as 1. So I'm going to put on some music that will support this. This is some music from the Native Americans here in North America, the country that we live in. And we're going to find the 1. I'm going to sit on the front. 1, 1, 1, 1. Right, right, right. And the left. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Right, left, 1, left, right, left. And you can practice this yourselves. And that is the quarter note. That's the 1, finding the 1. So if you thought that was all, that seemed kind of simple. We're going to do something just a little bit more complex. I'm going to add 2. There are 2 of these, and we would count it 1, 2, 2 quarter notes. And for this exercise, we're going to play with our right, the 1, 2, and we're going to our left, 1, 2, and then we're going to alternate. That means use the right and then the left. Right, left, right, left, and then we're going to switch it up and alternate and start with the left. Left, right, left, right. And I have it written out here for us. Right hand first, then the left hand, then the alternating. Right, left, left, right. And I have some music to go along with this by a group that was very important to me called Dead Can Dance. That's kind of interesting. We're going to do the 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And the left, 2, 1. Alternate. 1. And left. 1, 2, 1. Alrighty. Now we had some Native and American. That was some exotic music from, actually it comes from people from Ireland, also found in Europe. This next piece of music that I'm going to play, we're going to switch it up and get even a little bit more complex because we're going to add 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. And for this one, we're going to start with the right. 1, 2, 3. The left. 1, 2, 3. And then alternate with the right, left, right. 1, 2, 3. And then left. Left, right, left. 1, 2, 3. And for this one, this is a song, and this man here produces all the sound with his voice. He doesn't use any other instruments other than his voice. He was very popular. His name is Bobby McFerrin, and we're going to do something that I think you'll get the chance to do a little bit later on, is Drive My Car. So here we go with... And left. 1, 2, 3. 3. And alternate. Right, right. 1, 2, 3. 4, 2. And switch. Left, right, left, left, right, left. 3, 2, 3. Here we come, the final one. We're going to do all four. And it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's 4 quarter notes. Again, right hand, left hand, and then alternate. And I saved one of my all-time favorite songs that I remembered listening to when I was perhaps your age, from my parents used to play, from a man who, very, very fine clarinetist, Benny Goodman. Maybe your great-grandparents have some of this music. So this one's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see if we can get it going. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'm not doing it that way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. And the left. 4. And alternate. Right. And switch it. 1. I'm going to switch it up. Hey! Yeah, that's a lot of fun. All right. So let's review all the things that we learned today. We learned about this instrument that we find in Peru, which the name of it is cajon, or the box. As we said, it was found on the continent of South America in the country of Peru. It was brought over by the African slaves to Peru, and then later brought to Spain. And they did some more work with it. For your practice for this week, I'm going to ask that you do some of the things with the notation, starting with the first note that we learned, which is our quarter note. And you're going to do the following. You're going to play 1. You're going to find the 1, right? And then the switch to your left. Just the ones. Then we're going to add another one and make it 1, 2. 1, 2, right? And then the left. And then alternate. Right, left, right, left. And then the left starting. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. We're going to get a little bit more complex and add the 3 beats. Again, starting always with the right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And then the left. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. 3. And then alternate. Right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right. And then left. Left, left. And then we're going to get wild and crazy. And we're going to do all 4. Again, starting with the right. And then you guessed it, to the left. And then to the alternating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3. And the 1, 2, 3, 4, and alternate. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. All righty. Now, the question that I know that all of you are asking yourselves right now. Mr. C, what if I don't have a cajon? What am I gonna do? Well, let me tell you what you can do. Remember from the first lesson when I was teaching about the heartbeat, that I said to do it on your chest. You can feel your heart beating inside your chest. You could use your chest and do that. 1, 1. Or you could use a table. Of course, not to bother anybody else while they're doing their homework, but you can find a place. Or if you have an empty box, that would be another option. So, I look forward to seeing you for my third installment, which is going to be getting a little funky, and we'll be doing some more rhythms, some more funky rhythms to go along with some different music that I'm going to play for you. So for now, happy drumming, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
If you would like to support the youth at Unity Church of El Cajon, please send a check to Unity Church of El Cajon at 311 Highland Avenue, El Cajon, California 92020. And in the memo line, put youth. Or you can pay by credit card by calling 619-579-9586. Thank you.